Coach Brian, thanks for the time. We'll start with opening thoughts from each of you and then take questions.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start broad. I thought it was a great season. A lot of guys stepped into roles that, we had full confidence that they could do, and but it was really nice to see. It was nice to see the team come together and the way it did. I mean, today we didn't have our best stuff. I just don't think we played well. I don't think they particularly played out of this world. I think if we played how I know we could play 9 out of 10 times, and I think we get them today, but we just didn't have our stuff, and sometimes that happens.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great team. Those guys in New York are 1-1 for a reason, and we knew it was going to be a good game coming in, and I think we're very capable of playing with them. I think we proved that in the first half. I think we just did some really uncharacteristic stuff today. I don't know why. Some really sloppy things, and really struggled to kind of find a rhythm up front on the offensive end. And at the end of the day, I mean, really, we strive to hold teams to 10 goals, and we pretty much did that. To the end. Obviously, there was a 2-pointer in there. But I think the offense just really needed to be better on the front end to pick us up. So, obviously a great goaltender over there, and I think our goalie had a great day as well. I don't know what his numbers were, but I know he had a boatload of saves today.
Questions?
Yeah, Coach, just building off that last comment, Chase made 16 saves today. Just how do you think your continued belief in him all season long just allowed him to kind of break out in these playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I know, people could sit back on the outside and, have an opinion on things. And I think, for me, it's like the only guys that really know what's going on are the guys that are here every week and, and see. And, Chase is a phenomenal player. I think he proved that this year, the last 3 games, and it's like, yeah, he's a second-year guy, but he didn't play a whole lot last year, so he might as well be a rookie. And, it takes time, and, it's like anything in life. Like, the only way you figure it out is if you get some reps, right? I hand you a fishing pole and tell you to go figure out how to fly fish. You're not going to figure it out right away. It's going to take some time, and, we stuck with him, and I've had confidence in that young man all along. He believes in himself, and the guys on this team believe in him. And, I'm really proud, of him to finish off the way that he did.
Yeah.
Coach, you guys had a long scoreless stretch in there. It was,
Sure.
Almost 20 minutes. Was that something that was, more of what they were doing, or just kind of, it really kind of came out of the half that way? So it was just a break in rhythm, or what did that for you guys?
I mean, I don't really have an answer for you there. I mean, I think, again, just goes back to point one of just playing uncharacteristic. I think a couple times guys trying to do too much. I think they got on a little streak there where they were winning some faceoffs. I don't think we had a ton of touches. I think we were rushing a few possessions, threw the ball away, plenty. So I don't think it was anything they were doing any different. I think it was just lack of execution on our end.
Any questions?
For both of you guys, throughout this season, there are a lot of highs, a lot of lows, a lot of people, questioning you guys, a lot of, doubt around you, and you guys never quit. You guys never, threw in the towel. You get to the semifinals when there was a lot of, doubt about this team and the direction that you guys could go in. What did you both kind of learn about yourselves and your play style, your coaching style, respectively, as the season went on? And to get here, how do you guys view this as kind of step one of your process, Coach?
Go ahead, bud.
I mean, at this point, last season, the feeling was a lot different, and I think coming off this field, as terrible as the feeling is, losing in the semifinals, there's a ton to build off of, and there's a ton to be really excited about. I mean, the production out of, our rookies, and if they're not technically a rookie, our young players, it, was out of this world. And new players for what we put together, like you said, no one had any faith that we could do that. I mean, I know in the locker room back in Albany, like, we believed it from day one, but really no one believed it. We go on a 5-game losing streak. We still had faith that we could turn this thing around and to make a run like we did. But yeah, just trying to see the silver lining, I think, at this point, and really look forward to next year and get back to work. I mean, we're a young team with a young coaching staff, with a young GM, but everyone's got a very mature presence to them and knows that this is more than just a one-year game plan. We're going to be back next year. We're going to be even better next year, and we're going to be more mature. And hopefully that'll show when we're eventually back in this situation and we have our best stuff instead of our worst stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to it's hard for me to look ahead or think about next year right now. But for to Tim's point, for I think what these guys were able to do, this year, I'm really proud of them. I couldn't be prouder of that group, and I'm happy I'm with them. These guys, say what you want about this group, they don't quit, and they play hard, and we're going to continue to build on it, man. I think you look at us. I think we were the one team that continued to get better every week as the season ended. And people kept saying, "Oh man, I can't believe they won! I can't believe they won! I can't believe they won!" And it's like, well, we were getting better every week, and I think people failed to realize, and they looked past the good things that we were doing, and just continue to focus on the fact that they thought we shouldn't be there. I think these guys earned every bit of where we got to, and we fell a little short today.
Coach, just overall coming back to professional lacrosse this season, how would you summarize what this experience has been like for you, and any key takeaways or surprises experiencing it?
It's been incredible. I'm extremely grateful to be back. It's I tell these guys every week, there's no place I'd rather be, and it's a lot of fun. And you're right, it's been a bit. I had a nice break, and started my family, and my wife is incredible to support me being gone every weekend, and I got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old at home, so you guys that have kids understand that, and for her to support that and tell me to go get on a plane and be with these guys is pretty special. But just to be back in the sport itself at this level has been incredible. These guys are phenomenal. I think the level of play is at an all-time high. I think the PLL is the best lacrosse by a mile that is being played, and I think that honestly, I think that gets overlooked a little bit. And these guys are the best of the best, and it's a lot of fun to be back here. And I know my staff feels the same way. And it's just a lot of fun for me to come back here with 2 former teammates of mine with Collins and Bachlet, and I really think that it is me personally, and I think the Chaos staff proved it too. I think that just my opinion on it, I think it's a good direction for the league to bring in some more guys like us, and I think it's good for the sport. I think it's good for the players, and again, I'm just really honored to be here and grateful to be back.
For the both of you, you saw the effect of Brennan O'Neill and Pat Cavanaugh today. What's it like game planning and then executing a defensive scheme against an offense like that, which is kind of something you see every week?
You want to go?
Yeah, they're great players. Kudos to them for having great games. But we come in fully prepared every day. I know Coach Collins does a great job putting together a comprehensive game plan. We talk all week as a defensive unit. There's no lack of preparation and no lack of focus going in. And at the end of the day, for what they did today, if you told me at the beginning of the day that we could hold them to, right around 10-12, I would probably take that. And then I think it's just a matter of getting into a flow. Obviously, there's a couple ones that we'd love to have back, and a couple mental mistakes that obviously change the direction of the game and change the flow of the game, but stuff happens. But all in all, I think our preparation every week is second to none. If anyone was a part of our group chats and our constant dialogue, it would be in awe of what we bring to the table every week and the focus and determination that we have.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really proud of the guys the way that they prepare. I think we do a lot to make sure that our guys are ready every week. We do a lot of things that I think a lot of other staffs and teams are not doing. I'm not going to go into that, but I'll just say I think that we feel really good about our preparation every week and coming in. I think at the end of the day, you're talking about 2 of the best players in the world, and they are closely followed behind some other great players on that team. So, when you come in, you got to be your best. And, I think overall we really did a good job. I think credit to O'Neal. I think that's probably the best game I've seen him play this year. Maybe not numbered. I think he had 5 points. He had that 2-pointer, that step back 2-pointer. I mean, I think he's the only guy in the world that can shoot that shot. And, that was a really big swing. They're down 1 and then all of a sudden they're up 1. And, not that we didn't respond, but I think that gave them a lot of momentum when I think we had it to that point. And, he kept firing. I think Fake did a really nice job on him. But, to your point of, game planning, he's really good when you give him topside. He's really good when you give him underneath. I think that young man, is just a phenomenal player. I think Kastner actually did a really nice job on Kavanaugh. Obviously Kavanaugh's a competitor and a great player. But I think Cass, made his life tough. And to that point, too, I mean, I think Kastner is going to be a superstar in this league. And, I'm just really happy we have him. And, I think our whole defense, I don't think our defense gets much credit. I've said that. I've sat up here a couple times and said that. I think if you guys really dive into some film and you watch our guys, our defense is very, very good. And it's a young group. And, it's a scary thought to think about those guys coming back and what we're going to build on with this team. So, when you, again, not looking ahead, but, I'm excited about coming back next year and getting back to work.
Questions on Zoom? Dre?
Coach, this is for you and Brian. So Dylan Malloy has been one of the best comeback stories in lacrosse right now. Can you both just speak to what he's meant for the Redwoods team this year?
Yeah, I think I think our group, we got a lot of guys that nobody wanted. A lot of guys that were out of nowhere. A lot of guys that were just people didn't know existed. And we brought him, gave him an opportunity, and they've, there's a lot of guys in our group that answered the bell for first-year guys, and I think he's a guy, obviously a veteran guy. He's the oldest guy on our team, which is crazy to think. He's only 29, and he's the oldest guy on our team. So, I think by far we have the youngest group in the league, and having a guy like him has been awesome. I mean, he shows up every week, does his job. He hates to be in the spotlight. I mean, I've said that a bunch of times. I offered to have him run out with the flag today, and he was like, he didn't really even like that idea. He didn't want to do it. I've tried to get him to take it before, and he didn't want it. And today I said, hey, I think you should. And he's like, if that's what you want, I'll do it. And it's just a small piece of who he is. But I think for him to be there, so many guys on this team look up to him, and what he's been able to do over the course of his career as a college player, pro player. I think he really sets a calming presence on our offense. And, really the days that he's been able to kind of go off and score some goals, everyone seems to kind of follow. Unfortunately, he was the guy today, and we didn't get a whole lot of production out of the rest of the group. But really, really proud of him for what he did for this team and what he's been, what he means to this organization, for sure.
Phil?
Yeah, for Brian, Coach touched on during that long scoreless streak about what the offense was doing, rushing shots, things like that. But when you're playing defense during that time frame, is there an extra amount of pressure that's put on you? Like, what is the feeling during the defensive side during that time frame when you're going 20 minutes without a goal and trying to contain, as you mentioned, Brennan and Pat and Jared?
Yeah, I don't think that the focus or what we're worried about necessarily changes. We just try to go out there every possession and execute our game plan. I mean, our offense has bailed our defense out a number of times this season, and so we have all the confidence in the world that they can get hot, whenever. So our focus is always just get a stop, get the ball back to them, let them settle into the game, because I mean, for a ton of games this season, they bailed us out. So, I think in our mind, it's just continuing to make stops and put them in the best position where they could just get as many touches as possible and as many shots as possible, because, when they get hot, it's really tough to stop.
We'll end it there. Thank you both for the time.
Thanks.
Coach Pat Brennan, congratulations on advancing to the PLL US Bank Championship. We'll start with opening thoughts from each of you and then take questions.
I just think it was kind of anxious to see how we'd come out after 30 days not playing, and we had some good practices last week, so I was hopeful, but the rush showed up and we knocked it off after the first quarter and started chipping away, and then started playing more like ourselves in the second half. So that was great. That was a great team. You know, got Dylan Malloy out there with a first half hat trick, and I'm proud of him. You know, he played for the Chrome back in the day, and but the way these guys responded in the second half, you know, from the face-off to the goalie to offense, and then just locking down on defense and kind of following our rules, sliding quicker to Dylan, and I think we just kind of played a complete game in the second half. So I'm happy for the guys. This is going to be this organization's first trip to the playoff or to the championship game as well, and I think it's going to be a good one. 2 weeks.
Yeah. We knew we were going to have to handle their punches, and they came out hot. But our defense really stepped up, and while we were getting back into our groove, they were able to have our backs. So not let the game get out of hand and just allow us to start to field again. And from there, we just didn't look back. And it was really cool, and I'm proud of the way we handled the break. We really took it serious and made sure we got better over the 4 weeks. And I really think it paid off in the end. So really happy to be moving on.
Yeah, super proud of the guys. Obviously, we had a really long break, 4 weeks. We were able to practice last week, which is great. But you never really know what to expect when you have that long of a break, and especially the Redwoods. They've been rolling. They're a great team, and it's a little dangerous playing against a team that's kind of playing with house money. No one really picked them to beat us. Everyone's been picking against them the whole year, so they're a great group. Got a ton of respect for those guys. A ton of them were my college teammates. Same with Brennan as well. So we're very familiar with those guys, and the character of the guys in that locker room is off the charts. So we knew they were going to come out firing and throw a lot of punches, and I think we handled them well, like Brennan said. And yeah, kind of a defensive battle in the first half, and then we just settled down and started sticking to our offensive principles to what got us here in the first place as the #1 seed. I don't think we were moving the ball well enough in the first half. We were kind of settling for that first look on these possessions, and then we had a couple multiple pass goals in the second half, which has been our identity all year. And I think once those started falling and we started relying back on our principles, yeah, it all started working, and our defense was locked down the whole game. Malloy, like Coach said, hats off to him. Incredible season. Super impressive year from him. And JT just did a great job on Chris. He proves week in, week out that he's top 3, if not the best cover guy in the world. So, yeah, proud of our effort and proud of this group.
Questions?
Brennan, can you just talk about your overall performance today, and what's the main thing you could take away from this season when you go back with the Philadelphia Wings?
Yeah, I think today shots were falling. Definitely had a couple that I would have liked to hit earlier on, but you know, guys were finding me. Guys had their heads up, and when they sloughed off me, we took advantage and passed it right to my stick. And passer makes the shooter. That's what I like to say. So I just caught it and pulled it. So shots were falling, and guys really had their heads up for me. And this season's not over, obviously, so I can't really reflect on it too much yet. But it's just a great group of guys who really care about each other, and just all have the same goal in mind, and that's just to win every game. And I'm really proud of the way we've handled adversity this year. That's really built character along the way, and yeah, we're just not done, and I know the boys are still hungry.
Other questions? Chris and then Kyle.
Coach first, and then if you guys want to jump in as well, what would you say were kind of your priorities with navigating the long gap of time there, like certain things you wanted to accomplish or emphasize? And to you two, just how did you guys make sure you were staying fresh and everything you wanted to accomplish as well?
And we started talking to the leadership in Denver that weekend is like, hey, this very well could be a very long time off, and how are we going to keep these guys accountable during? And they had conversations, and they had conversations with the whole team, and the accountability is there. These guys work hard on their own. So that was part of it. Weekly calls, Zoom calls were important just to make sure we saw each other's faces and stuff. And then last weekend's practice, like, I was pleasantly surprised with our approach to that, especially on Friday night. Travel in, sometimes it's loosey-goosey, but we got after it for 2 straight hours on that Friday night, and then another good one Saturday morning. And so you can't mimic game speed. And I think that's the thing that caught us by surprise in the first quarter. So once we got back to how quick we have to get the ball in and out of our stick, we've started finding some layups. So it was really good to see.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's a pro and in the PLL for a reason. Everyone loves the game, and part of this league is holding yourself accountable. You don't have those practices every day like you do in college. So you really got to be accountable to yourself, and you look around the locker room that we have, and you think of guys like Mike Manley, Jesse Berghart. I know I kind of sound like a broken record, but you want to get it done for those guys. You don't want to sit around and not be ready for a game like this. So, yeah, just everyone is just such a pro on our team, and guys showed up ready to go at practice last week, and we had great 2 days, and I think it translated over to today. So, yeah, just trying to get proper sleep, hydration, and trying to, like Coach said, it's hard to mimic game speed and the change of direction that you're going to be doing in games. So that was a little tough, but yeah, just making sure your conditioning and all that stuff and your sleep is proper. So you're ready for the challenge like we have today.
I think the cool part is that we don't have a rah-rah team. Like, they're not rah-rah. They don't need to have fake emotion. Like, they just go out and grind. They're super blue collar. So that's what I love about them.
Yeah, we knew that the 4 weeks, you can use it as an excuse all you want, but it's what you make of it. It can be, if you're proactive and take it the right way, and you put your foot forward and say, I'm not going to use this time to be laid back. I'm still in season. You're going to make progress through it. But yeah, it was tough mimicking. You can't really mimic a game, but you can do all the right things and just make sure that you're as prepared as you can be, and I think that the guys in the locker room did that. So.
Yeah, for Pat, 3 points today, you score a goal, you punch a ticket to the championship. Has this been the coolest birthday of your life so far?
One of them, yeah. Yeah, obviously you always want to get a win, and then it's a little extra special on your birthday. So a nice little present for me, and like Brennan said, not satisfied. So one more to go. We've been grinding all year. It's just super proud of the guys. Everyone was kind of kicking us to the curb and questioning us after we were 0-2 and not really having things figured out. And so, yeah, we just put our heads down and knew that it would all click. And one more to go.
For all you guys, you held the Redwoods scoreless for about 20 minutes worth of game clock there. How does that change your mentality as players and as coaches as that long stretch of shutout defense is going on?
I think it helps tremendously. I mean, especially when they shoot early shots and we get the ball out and up early and get our change. And, we've relied on transition a lot this year, and today was a day that we're calling those guys off. Like, especially after we get a bit of a lead, like, get those guys off, make sure that we get the touches we need offensively and get the right looks. And, it was such a kind of started slow game, and then we just built. And I think there was a couple hiccups along the way where we tried to do too much, but at the end of the day, I think we just kind of played it perfectly at the end of the day. So,
yeah, I'd say that I've been saying it all year. having that trust in the guys on the other end as an offensive player is huge. You take chances and you kind of play a little more free when you trust those guys on the other end so much to make a stop. So it allows you to kind of just not think so much and not second guess because you have that faith. And with guys like Logan, JT, Jesse, the rope unit, you know that they're going to have your back and get you when you're playing maybe not up to your standard. And that's what they did today. Like I said, it took us a while to get going. And sometimes when that happens, if the defensive end can't hold their end of the bargain, then the game might be out of reach by the time you get going. So they really allowed us to, figure ourselves out, and we took advantage of it once we started to click again.
Zach Geddes scored a goal for you guys today, made a couple key plays. What's it been like having him in the locker room and on the field for you guys after signing him in the offseason?
I called it, by the way. It was no more than 5 minutes prior to that. I was like, "You're due for a goal." He just looked at me like, "Okay, coach." No, a tremendous athlete. Helps clearing the ball. Super humble. Greatest guy in the locker room. Our off season was incredible. The guys that we were able to pick up and put in the locker room that helped build culture versus break culture down. And that's not typically what I think free agency does for you. So we're super particular, but he's been awesome, and we really appreciate him. And he's quiet, but in big moments, he's made big plays all year long.
Yeah, I think he's kind of gotten overshadowed a little bit this year because how good Terry is. But I mean, what Geddes did last year, his whole career on the Chaos, he's one of the best teammates in the league, and. Why playing in this league is incredible is these athletes who play at D-Midi are some of the best athletes in the world. I always talk about my welcome to the league moment was my first career game. I was coming out of the box getting guarded by Danny Logan the majority of the game, and I just realized how freakishly strong and athletic these D-Midis are. So, Geddes is one of the best in the world, and happy he got one. So he's had quietly just such a solid year, so happy for him.
Brandon, Coach Kelly just referenced your two-pointer as obviously a big swing point in that first half. Just one, how cognizant are you of your footwork when you're coming up field and taking that kind of jump shot? And just, Pat, from your perspective, how impressive of a shot was that?
For the most part, a lot of the reason that I would step back like that in that scenario is just to get my hands free. I caught the ball. I thought I was going to shoot it at first. And I didn't think I could get a good, clean shot off with the defenseman approaching. So a lot of times, you could either run through the check or you could step back or hitch. There's a lot of things you can do, and in that moment, it just felt right to step back and hit a jump shot. And I don't really pay attention to that 2-point mark, but it's definitely in the back of the head that you're in that kind of range. But I don't purposely step back because it's a 2-pointer. A lot of it's just trying to get my hands free, and if it's a 2, it's a 2,
Yeah, I usually have the best angle, though, is standing directly behind the net. So every time I just can't help but laugh. It's just like a laughable play every time. Just start smiling and laughing, and then you realize that it's a 2-pointer. It's like no one else really in the world can do that type of stuff. So, it's incredible.
Questions for Pat. Can you just talk about what the build-up has been like for the last couple of days, knowing you will be facing your brother for the right to play for the championship?
Yeah, it's been cool. Hasn't been awkward at all. We're both competitors, and we knew this game was coming. But just super proud of the year that he had. Playing alongside him was some of the most fun and best years of my life, and then to be on the other side, getting a chance to compete in the semifinal game to go to the championship against him was one of the coolest experiences. I don't even know the emotions I have eliminating him. It's definitely a little weird. You feel a little bad, but at the end of the day, he was on the other side. I'm not just gonna let the other team win because he's my brother. So
A lot of psychological warfare this week. He made him restring a stick 5 times for him.
Yeah, he strings all my sticks. He's strung every stick I've ever used, so I was making sure that pretty generous of him. He could have completely ruined my stick if he wanted to, but yeah, he made sure it was dialed. So thank you, Chris, for that. But yeah, it was awesome. Proud of him.
Last couple on Zoom. Dre.
Hey, Pat, Brandon, this one's for you guys. Can you guys talk about Dalton Young, his play today, and what his consistency as a midfielder has meant for the team?
Yeah, Dalt's, I think I said it in the press conference after the Archers game in Baltimore, that he's one of the best middies in the league, one of the most underrated players in the league, and most unselfish guy. He could really do it all. He's an ex-attackman in college, 2-time player of the year in his conference, so he's an incredible player and super underrated, great locker room guy, a part of this special young core that we got, so we're all building our relationships off the field together, which is really cool, and just really proud of the year that he's had, and another incredible pickup by Coach Sudo, and just does his job every single week. So the fact that we have Dalton as like our 4th or 5th option on all these offensive possessions is incredible, because he's one of the best in the league, for sure.
Yeah, he's a do-it-all. He'll do whatever you need. You saw flashes of it last year. But he's just made so many steps each week. He can catch everything inside. He's very quick and shifty, can dodge, can beat a guy, can feed. He can really just do it all, and he's been huge for our offense. And he's so unselfish, and he just does whatever the team needs. If he needs to play off ball, he'll play off ball. If he needs to ISO at X or play 2-man at X, he'll do that. So he just kind of just does whatever is needed for the team to succeed, and he won't ask any questions about it. He'll just do it. So, really good guy, and it's been awesome getting to know him.
Last question, Topher.
Coach, you alluded to it a little bit at the beginning, but this is the first championship appearance for this version of this group. First championship appearance for you since the old Rattlers days about a decade ago. What does it mean for you to kind of get back to the title game and kind of get the chance to compete for that elusive title?
I think we work really hard. Our staff is tireless as far as what they do week in and week out, and the amount of time they put in over this last 4 weeks was pretty incredible. And so, Jocko and Bolte do an awesome job, and kudos to those guys. It means everything to guys that started in the PLL in 19 as the Chrome guys, that were Rattler guys from the old MLL days. So the only one that's still standing is Mike Manley, and I think there's a big push for us to go get a victory here for Mike. And Mike has a hard decision after this year what he wants to do moving forward. But it's an incredible feeling. Like, I've never done this for wins and losses for myself. Just to put these guys in great opportunities like I had when I played. And, I think that these guys feel that. And, we're not a selfish group as far as it's all about the guys. And, we knew that we had something halfway through the season after winning 3 straight, and we just kept the pedal down and knew at some point we were going to kind of feel comfortable about ourselves. So that's been a big conversation, and I'm just happy for the guys and the group that we put together here. It's been an incredible change in how gritty and non-selfish these guys are, especially with having the superstars that we have.
Thank you all. Enjoy the win. We'll see you in New Jersey.